Is this real? Can a simple 5-minute video really change the trajectory of someone's life? Outside the window, the humid night of Taipei hummed with its usual rhythm, the endless drone of scooters, the beep of crosswalk signals, and the polite bustle of the night markets. For Lily, a videographer tired of the daily grind, this was just background noise. She spent her days buried in design agency briefs and her nights in a cramped studio apartment, editing footage until her eyes blurred. One evening, sinking deep into her sofa, she aimlessly opened YouTube. Her algorithm served up a video titled, New York City, 8K 60 FPS, the city that never sleeps. The thumbnail showed the Manhattan skyline at twilight, the Empire State Building glowing like a beacon amidst a sea of steel and glass. Overhyped, she muttered. She knew the tricks: color grading, saturation boosting. In her line of work, manipulating reality was part of the job. Yet, she couldn't look away. Her finger hovered over the screen, then tapped play. The screen exploded with imagery: the sweeping Hudson River, the stoic gaze of the Statue of Liberty, the chaotic ballet of yellow cabs on Fifth Avenue, and the steam rising from subway grates like cinematic fog. It was breathless. It was gritty. It was unpolished and overwhelmingly real. Is such a place actually real? A mix of shock, skepticism, and an indescribable longing washed over her. Her logical mind tried to dismiss it as good editing. But her heart was already packing a bag. That night, Lily tossed and turned. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the Art Deco spire of the Chrysler Building and the red brick row houses of the village. Before dawn broke over Taipei, she grabbed the notebook by her bed and wrote 2 letters, USA. Part 2. The Leap of Faith. The images wouldn't fade. For Lily, born and raised in the orderly, safe, and convenient bubble of Taipei, New York represented the unknown, a place of legendary noise, dirt, and danger, but also infinite possibility. It's just a video, she told herself. It's probably dirty and scary in real life. But the pull was magnetic. The next morning, while the city was still waking up, she checked flight prices to JFK. Expensive, but with her savings, manageable. When she clicked confirm, a jolt of adrenaline surged through her chest. At lunch, her colleague Hannah noticed her distraction. Lily, you've been staring at that wall for 10 minutes. What's up? I think I'm going to New York, Lily confessed. That video I watched won't leave my head. But I'm terrified I'll be disappointed. Hannah paused, surprised, then smiled warmly. I think that's brave, Lily. You've been running on autopilot lately. Even if it's not like the movies, travel changes you. You meet a version of yourself you didn't know existed. You won't regret going. Those words settled her nerves. By the time she lay in bed that night, the fear was gone, replaced by the thrill of the unknown. Outside her window, the Taipei rain fell softly, but in Lily's mind, the journey had already begun. Part 3. Landing in the land of the free. Touching down at JFK Airport at 3 p.m., the first thing Lily noticed was the scale. Everything was massive. The runways, the terminals, the sheer number of planes. Unlike the polite efficiency of Taoyuan, JFK was a sensory overload of diverse faces, languages, and glorious chaos. Stepping out of the terminal, the air was different, crisp, cool, and smelling faintly of jet fuel and ocean. She navigated the AirTran and the subway, struggling with the turnstiles, surrounded by a mosaic of humanity. Thirsty, she stopped at a vending machine. The labels were bold and aggressive. She bypassed the water and chose a Dr. Pepper, a drink she'd only heard about in movies. She cracked it open. The taste was a shock, medicinal, spicy, wildly sweet. It was nothing like the subtle winter melon tea back home. It was unapologetic. So this is America, she thought, smiling. Part 4. The Empire State of Mind. She emerged from Penn Station into the heart of Manhattan. The canyons of steel rose vertically, blocking out the sun. The noise was deafening, sirens, honking, people shouting, "Hey, watch it!" But it felt alive. The energy was infectious. She made her way to the Empire State Building. Standing at the base, looking up at the limestone giant, she felt small in the best way possible. It wasn't just a building, it was a monument to human ambition. The elevator ride to the observatory was a history lesson in itself, detailing the construction during the Great Depression. They built this when the world was falling apart, she read. Hope in the face of adversity. When the doors opened on the 86th floor, the wind whipped her hair across her face. And there it was, the concrete jungle. To the north, Central Park looked like a perfect green rectangle cut into the gray. To the south, the Freedom Tower shimmered. To the east and west, the rivers glittered like diamonds. It wasn't pretty in the delicate sense. It was majestic. It was a view that demanded you dream bigger. Lily didn't take a photo immediately. She just let the wind hit her face, feeling the pulse of the city seep into her bones. Part 5. Echoes of Liberty. The next chapter of her journey took her away from the skyscrapers. She wanted to see the roots of this nation. She boarded the Amtrak Acela to Philadelphia. Unlike the silent, smooth glide of the Taiwan high-speed rail, the Amtrak train rocked and swayed, passing through graffiti-laden industrial zones and vast, open marshlands. It felt rugged. Arriving in Philadelphia, she was struck by the contrast. Independence Hall stood humble and red-bricked, a stark difference from the towering glass of NYC. Walking on the cobblestones of the old city, she felt the weight of history. She stood before the Liberty Bell, reading the inscription, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." In Taipei, history was often about dynastic shifts and ancient traditions. Here, history was about an idea, a radical experiment in freedom. Standing in the room where the Declaration of Independence was signed, watching the sunlight filter through the colonial windows, Lily felt a profound sense of solemnity. Part 6. An oasis in the city. Returning to New York, Lily sought a moment of peace. She found it in Central Park. It was autumn, and the park was a blaze of gold, crimson, and burnt orange. She walked to the Bethesda Terrace. Below, a street performer sang opera, his voice echoing off the Minton tiles. Couples rowed boats on the lake. Kids chased giant bubbles. She sat on a bench, watching the juxtaposition of the ancient trees against the jagged skyline. In Taipei, nature and city were often separated by mountains. Here, the park was the city's lungs. The anxiety of her life back home, the pressure to conform, to be perfect, seemed to evaporate into the crisp fall air. I will remember this light forever, she thought. Part 7. The Taste of the Melting Pot. That evening, tired of tourist food, Lily found a small, unassuming pizza joint on a corner in Brooklyn. No fancy signage, just the smell of oregano, garlic, and baking dough. "What can I get for you, sweetheart?" the guy behind the counter asked, his accent thick and brash. "One slice of pepperoni, please." He slid a massive, triangular slice onto a paper plate. It was greasy, hot, and messy. She mimicked the locals, folding it in half. The crunch of the crust, the tang of the tomato sauce, the stretch of the mozzarella, it was heavenly. "Good, huh?" the guy winked. "Best slice in the borough." Lily laughed, wiping grease from her lip. She sat by the window, watching the world go by. A drag queen, a businessman, a family of tourists, a cop. This scene wasn't in the travel guides. It was raw, unfiltered community. She pulled out her notebook and wrote, "The smell of pizza, the folding of the slice, the sweetheart from the stranger. This is the warmth of the city." Part 8. The Final Realization. On her last day, Lily returned to the top of the rock just as the sun was setting. She looked out over the city one last time. The video she had watched back in Taipei was beautiful, yes, but it was sterile. It missed the smell of the subway, the taste of the Dr. Pepper, the vibration of the Amtrak train, the rude but kind New Yorkers, and the feeling of infinite freedom that hung in the air. She bought a small metal replica of the Statue of Liberty and a postcard of the skyline at night. Back in her hotel room, packing her suitcase, she looked at her notebook. The pages were full. the ambition of the Empire State Building, the solemnity of the Liberty Bell, the golden peace of Central Park, the greasy joy of a dollar slice. I am part of the scenery now, she whispered. Epilogue, a new lens. Lily returned to Taipei, but she didn't return to her old self. The humidity hit her as she exited Taoyuan Airport, but she stood taller. She placed the Statue of Liberty model on her desk next to her computer. Now, when she edited videos, she looked for the soul, not just the aesthetic. She realized that the American dream wasn't just about success, it was about the energy to reinvent yourself. She opened a new project file. She wanted to tell the world what she had found. The America I discovered wasn't the one in the 8K video. It was louder, messier, and far more beautiful. It's a place that doesn't just ask you to watch, it dares you to participate. If you are looking for a journey that will shake you awake, book the ticket. Don't just watch the screen. Go find your own